There she go. I guess that's the mother or the grandmother. I think that's the mother. Wow. It's a damn shame. Who that boy had something to do with that girl passing away.
Really big deal for London's family, who, have basically been hearing radio silence from investigators since London's body was found last Saturday. Now, 48-year-old Charla Pendergrass of Inkster has been charged with lying to a peace officer. The other person of interest has been released for now, but investigators still consider them a person of interest. Take a listen to what London's grandmother had to say.
It's been miserable, heartbroken, not eating, not sleeping. It's just heartbroken. I'll never get my baby back.
No murder charges in the case of 17-year-old London Thomas, who was found dead April 26th. But in connection, 48-year-old Charla Pendergrass has been charged with lying to a peace officer, a felony carrying up to 4 years in prison.
I think she got something to do with it. I want justice for my granddaughter. I want her to go to jail for murder. I want justice for my granddaughter.
Charla Pendergrass is one of 2 suspects police originally had in custody. State police confirm the other suspect, who has not been charged, has been released and is still considered a suspect.
They trying to lie and hide and scheme for each other. I want justice. I want both of them. Life for life. Do some time. 4 years ain't enough.
What we know about Charla Pendergrass, she's connected with a home on Carlisle Street in Inkster, the same street London Thomas was last seen on April 5th when visiting her boyfriend. London's grandma says shortly after London's disappearance, she confronted Charla Pendergrass.
I talked to the lady, and she told me my granddaughter had left. I knew she was lying.
When was that?
When we was looking for London. And she was sitting in the car like she was talking to somebody and didn't want nobody in the house to know what she was saying. And when she said she walked off, I knew she was lying.
Pendergrass's bond was set at $50,000 cash surety. If she does post that bond, she'll have to wear a GPS tether, cannot have any contact with anybody involved in this investigation, witness, victim, anything like that. As to what exactly she lied about to peace officers, they're keeping that pretty close to the vest. Not a lot of detail on that, but we will keep you updated on the very latest. For now, reporting live in Inkster, Scott Walczak, Fox 2 News.
Yeah, people might find this interesting how this case is progressing, but it sounds like police are still gathering evidence so they make sure that they have a really solid case. But still, are we hearing any circumstances around why London Thomas may have been killed, or any sort of a motive possibly at this point?
At this point, it's definitely too early to tell on that, Taryn, but you're right in the sense where we're seeing a lot from investigators. Think about it. At first, it was Inkster Police, DPD, now state police in charge of the investigation, and the FBI are involved. We know for a fact that Charla Pendergrass and this other suspect have been in custody a few different times and released a few different times. So they're really working on this investigation. What does this lying to peace officer charge have to do with anything? Well, it could be a reason as to why this investigation has been hung up a little bit.
Yes, who maybe she was covering for. We'll just have to wait and see. Thanks so much.
Please be seated.
Afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, sir. Do we need a minute, or are we ready to go?
I think we're ready.
All right, let's do it.
Do we have a prosecutor or no?
We do.
Okay.
We do. Okay, just want to make sure everybody can hear everybody. We're on the the record in case number 25-1068 FY People versus Charlotte Pendergrass.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I have written 75788 on prosecution.
And good afternoon, Your Honor. For the record, Terry Johnson, P70773, on behalf of Ms. Charlotte Pendergrass, who is present and seated in the jury box.
All right. With regard to the charges, counsel, do you wish the court to read on the record what the charges are?
I have not seen them, Your Honor, and if the court would like, I can approach and glance at them, or whatever the court's pleasure is.
I'll read.
Thank you, Your Honor.
It's alleged between the dates of April 5th, 2025 and April 24th, 2025 in the city of Inkster in count 1 that the defendant is being charged with 1 count of lying to a police officer in a violent crime investigation. It's alleged that after being informed by Agent Christopher Steigel, Federal Bureau of Investigation, that the officer was conducting a criminal investigation, that the defendant did knowingly and willfully make a statement or statements to the office that she knew were false or misleading regarding the following material fact or facts relating to the investigation that London Thomas left 27262 Carlisle, Inkster, Michigan at 7 a.m. on April 5th, 2025 on foot through the front door, alive and well. And the officer was conducting a criminal investigation for kidnapping/homicide. That's a felony punishable by up to 4 years in prison and or a $5,000 fine. That concludes the reading of the charges.
Thank you, Your Honor. With that being said, we will enter a plea of not guilty before this honorable court.
All right, the court will enter a plea of not guilty on behalf of the defendant as to bond.
Your Honor, my client is a lifelong resident, actually, of Wayne County, born and raised here in the city of Inkster. She is not a flight risk. Her family still lives here. Her grandmother and grandfather, who are residents of the city of Inkster, would be asking for some type of personal bond in this matter, Your Honor, with the standard conditions.
All right, on behalf of the people?
On behalf of the people, Your Honor, the people would be seeking a high cash bond with a GPS header. We would be requesting no contact with the London Thomas's family nor any other witnesses in the kidnapping and or homicide investigation into the death of London Thomas. We would also be asking if the defendant has a passport, we surrender that passport to the investigating authorities. Your Honor, with regard to the residency, as outlined by defense counsel, Ms. Pendergrass has had an address outside of Wayne County in the city of Clawson since 2001. With regard to her being a flight risk, and people are concerned about flight, which is why we're asking for a tether. Ms. Pendergrass was set to turn herself into authorities late last week. Instead of going to the police station, she stopped the car that she was in, got out, and attempted to flee the area on foot. She was then later apprehended by police. Earlier today, we were in front of Judge Knapp with regard to a motion that Mr. Johnson had filed. Mr. Johnson indicated to the court that Ms. Pendergrass would not return to the Carlisle address in the city of Inkster, that she would be going to a different address in a different city. Specifically, she would not return to that Carlisle address because of some concerns with regard to the health and safety of her father. She was, in fact, apprehended at that house she said she would not be at, where she went directly from where she was released earlier today. People have a concern for flight, and with regard to the high cash bond, people are asking for a high cash bond. Ms. Pendergrass has access to multiple properties, multiple vehicles. She also is, to my understanding, has access to a large family trust. So people are concerned, again, with flight with regard to her financial situation. And then also with regard to the high cash bond, we're asking for that due to likelihood of conviction being quite high. Ms. Pendergrass was interviewed, Mirandized, said what she said, and the people have very strong evidence from phone records, video that Ms. Pendergrass did in fact lie to the police during this investigation.
All right.
Your Honor, just to clear one thing up, some of this is very insincere in terms of the fact of, yes, I did make a statement to the court earlier today that Judge Knapp, that Ms. Pendergrass would not return to the address on Carlisle. However, I was unaware at the time that Ms. Pendergrass had already been released from custody here in the city of Inkster. I had no communication with her. When I finally had communication with her, I said, you need to go to this address. So to say that she knew not to go there at that point, she was just released, she walked, and that's where she walked to at that point. So that's very insincere.
Is she working? Does she have a job that she?
Yes, I'm a caretaker for my, I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm a caretaker for my grandparents that need 24-hour care. Jalen and I are helping them along with a few different caregivers.
Okay. So that's your primary employment?
Yes.
And again, Your Honor.
My grandfather can't walk. My grandmother is very sick. So.
All right.
And Your Honor, this is 4-year felony, and if they have, other charges or other things that they're worried about, again, as the court is aware, I did file a writ because of the people's actions of detaining my client all this time, and they still haven't come up with anything but this one charge. And if they have something, they're free to come back and charge, but just to hold her on a possibility there may be something else, that I don't think that's fair to my client, especially after being in custody for in excess of 120-something hours.
All right. And Ms. Merrigan, this is an ongoing investigation?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. The court does take note of her lifelong contact with both the city and the county. I do have concerns with regard to her being a flight risk, as well as the strength of the case. The court did swear out the warrant and heard additional facts, and so the court has those concerns, and for those reasons the court will set a bond of $50,000 cash, surety, GPS tether if released, no contact of any kind with any witnesses. She's to surrender a passport if she has one. She may not leave the state of Michigan without permission of this court. She may not be in possession of any weapons or ammunition. And she's going to be living at in another city if she's released?
Yes, Your Honor, and that I have provided that address to the people as well as the detective from Michigan State Police.
All right.
I can provide it to the court if the court would like off the record.
No, as long as the parties that need it have it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Anything else for the record?
Your Honor, PCC?
We're going to do that. I guess I was asking Ms. Merrigan, did I impose the conditions that you requested?
Yes.
Okay, because you mentioned there was some concern about contact with witnesses?
Yes.
Okay.
And the court did order no contact with anyone.
Because I didn't name a party, so I'm going to just leave it at witnesses. So, counsel, are you available to return for probable cause conference next Wednesday?
One moment, Your Honor. That be in the morning, Your Honor?
Yes, sir. 9 a.m.
Yes, ma'am. Wednesday, May 7th.
May 7th, we'll see all parties back at 9 a.m.
Thank you, Your
That
Honor.
concludes this matter. Thank you all.
You and your staff have a great day, Your
You
Honor.
too.
So, updating the London Thomas case. So, the two people that were in custody in her disappearance and her unaliving were released early this morning. they did go ahead and rearrest the mother, which is Carla Rashida Pendergrass, and she did go ahead and have an arraignment today in front of the judge. So they did go ahead and charge her with lying to a police officer in the middle of a criminal investigation. So they state because she said to them that she saw London leave her home standing up, live and well, and walking out of her home looking like nothing happened to her. That's what she stated. She said that she saw her leave. She walked out. She was live and well of her home. So they did charge her with lying to a peace officer in the middle of a criminal investigation. Now, they did not rearrest the son, but they did go ahead and rearrest her, and she did have her arraignment. The judge did go ahead and set bond at $50,000, and that she would have to wear GPS ankle monitor, she would have to surrender her passport, and that she would not be able to have any contact with witnesses. And the judge did state that she did have concerns about her being a flight risk based on the original arrest that took place, and so she just put that on the record. She did go ahead and approve the bond for her, and the judge did go ahead and request a probable cause hearing for May the 7th at 9 a.m. so that they can kind of get more into details about, the things that they are claiming. Now, the attorney, Terry L. Johnson, who is the attorney for both of them, he did make an appearance the other day, kind of just stating that he did not think they were being treated fairly because they had not officially been charged with anything, that they were being held with charges pending because there was not enough evidence to actually give charges to them. So they did go ahead and release them because they only have a certain amount of time to hold them without actually putting charges on them. So that is why they were released this morning. And in the hearing, he did mention that to the judge. So it definitely does seem like at this current time, they do not have enough evidence to go ahead and, put those charges on him for the actual disappearance and unaliving of London. But hopefully that evidence will be, coming forward so that they can go ahead and proceed with those charges. London's family can get justice for her because that is what they are wanting. They are wanting justice for this 17-year-old who was taken away from life at such a young age with so much left to be doing with her life.
Let me give you guys a slight update regarding London Thomas, but first let me address this right here. She was found inside the black SUV that was sitting next to that house, not inside the house. I was just rushing talking. Now for the update. This is Charlotte Rashida Pendergrass. This is Jalen's mother. She was taken into custody. Remember, they had taken 2 people in for questioning, and I guess they were questioning them, talking to them and everything, and they released them, and then they took her back into custody because she lied to the police. And for those that don't remember, up there in Southfield, Michigan, London disappeared. She was last seen on April the 5th when she was dropped off at her boyfriend's house, which is Jalen Pendergrass, and she was found alive on April the 25th in Southfield. Now, even though they released the other person, which I believe is the son, Jalen, but even though they released him, he's still considered a suspect in this entire investigation. Now, what is unclear in this entire situation is the connection between her and London. What was the connection? Why would you try to hide something? What's going on? But nevertheless, she was arraigned today, and she was given a $50,000 cash or surety bond with a GPS tether. With things going the way that they are and stuff, I feel that, the lies that were told were about trying to cover for her son. That's what I believe. I think she was trying to cover for her son, and I've been saying it all along, that it's more than one person. Somebody had to help her son, allegedly. I'm going to say that. Somebody had to help him, and what ties do she have with, this whole thing? Did she help her son, dispose of the body, put it in the vehicle? Does she live in that house? What's going on? Was it the fact that, he's 23 and she's underage? Was it the fact that, maybe something had happened and she was going to tell? I don't know. Hopefully it all comes out pretty soon, but it's totally sad. Keep lifting up her family, keep lifting up her friends and the community and everything. We come together as a village. We're going to bring you more as soon as we find out more.
The mother of a man believed to be connected to the death of 17-year-old London, Thomas has been arrested and charged with lying to police during the investigation. Charla Rashida Pendergrass, 48, of Clawson, was taken into custody Friday morning by Michigan State Police. Prosecutors say she provided false information to FBI agents between April 5 and April 24, 2025, as they investigated Thomas's disappearance and death. Pendergrass has been charged with lying to a peace officer during a violent crime investigation, a felony punishable by up to 4 years in prison. She was arraigned Friday. Pendergrass is the mother of London Thomas's ex-boyfriend. He has not been charged yet in connection to the case. Thomas was last seen on April 5th in Inkster. After receiving a tip, police discovered her body near a home in the area of 8 Mile and Telegraph in Southfield. The cause of death has not yet been released. The boyfriend of London Thomas, who is considered a person of interest in the death of Thomas, has been charged in an unrelated case. Jalen Pendergrass, 23, is charged with filing a false police report in Novi, which is a felony punishable by up to 4 years in prison. His arraignment took place in Oakland County District Court on Sunday. Jalen Pendergrass and his mother, Charla Pendergrass, were the two suspects held after the body of Thomas, 17, was found. On Friday, both were released from custody. A few hours after their release, Charla Pendergrass was taken back into custody and charged with lying to police officers during an investigation. Court records show she has since bonded out. Defense attorney Terry Johnson, who is representing Jalen and Charla Pendergrass, believes his clients are being unfairly treated. The bonds were extensively high, and they were given GPS tethers because this is what Michigan State Police is asking for, Johnson said. They're the lead investigation agency here, and unfortunately, they have nothing. And what they're trying to do is gather information to come forward to charge my clients. Johnson says there should be a greater investigation into the house where Thomas's body was found, near the intersection of Millard Street and Sherman Avenue in Southfield, since neither of his clients has any connection to that residence. Somebody explained to me how a body can sit for 2 weeks, not in the street, but in a driveway of someone's house. Whose car is that? Whose house is that? Why are we not talking to these people? And why are they not under arrest? He said. Charla Pendergrass is expected back in court for a probable cause conference on May 7th.
So the boyfriend of London Thomas, who we've been wondering, why hasn't he been arrested? Remember, I brought to you guys yesterday that London Thomas's boyfriend, his mother was arrested, but not him. Well, now he's been arrested, but guess what? It's not in connection to London Thomas's case or her unaliving. It's actually in regards to a different case where he allegedly filed a false police report. Now, the boyfriend's name is Jalen Pendergrass, and his mother's name is Charla Pendergrass. Now, Jalen is 23, while London was just 17 years old when she was dating him and she was unalived. Now, the attorney for Jalen says that they don't have anything on his client and that they're making these arrests while they're actually still building a case, but that he hasn't seen anything to prove that Jalen or his mother has anything to do with the disappearance and unaliving of London Thomas. Now, remember, the last time London Thomas was seen was on April 5th when she was dropped off at Jalen's home. But Jalen and his mother swear up and down that London was never there, that he hadn't seen her. Now, her body was discovered on April 26th inside of a white SUV parked in a driveway where we don't even know how those people inside of that home that live there have any connection to Jalen or to London at all. Now, also, mind you, Charla and Jalen had been arrested before, but then they were released, and then the mother was rearrested for giving a false police report, but still not charged in connection with the unaliving or disappearance of London. And then Jalen was still out of jail. Now he's been rearrested, but not even in connection to London. So I'm starting to wonder too, do they actually have anything? Who knows? There is more questions than answers in this case, but let's go ahead and watch the news clip and see what the attorney actually said verbatim.
Arrest of the boyfriend of London Thomas. The 17-year-old was found dead last weekend, 3 weeks after she went missing. Her 23-year-old boyfriend arrested today, not in connection with London's death, but on a charge of lying to police a year ago. Just yesterday, the boyfriend's mother, Charla Pendergrass, arrested and charged for lying to police during the investigation of London Thomas's death. The family's attorney says police are making arrests for a case they're not prepared to bring to court.
If you go back to even yesterday, think about this. Your cameras here at Channel 7 were the only ones out front when Charla Pendergrass was arrested. And when have you ever seen, again, they did the perp walk. Normal protocol is, you take somebody through the sally port. They want to do everything they can to destroy the reputation of my clients to make their case, a case which they do not have.
We asked if the family's attorney has been presented any evidence that the mother or son are tied to London's death. He says he has not seen that.
All right, you guys, so we finally have another update in the case of London Thomas. So the alleged boyfriend has now been arrested, but Jalen has been arrested for a false report of a felony, And he is not in the same jail as his mother. He is in Oakland County. So let's remember, Charla was arrested in Wayne County for lying to a police officer during the investigation of a violent crime. So Jalen and his mom, they have the same exact attorney. And the attorney feels like this is unjust. He thinks that they have no real proof that they're the ones that did something to London, and that now they're just arresting them for anything in order to hold them. Now let me say this, everyone is innocent until proven guilty. We're not accusing anyone of anything. But I strongly believe that these two people hold the knowledge of what actually happened to London. But what I do think is the fact that London had been gone for so long, we're talking about weeks, her body might have been severely decomposed, and they're waiting on the autopsy to actually see her cause of death. Now, I think that once they find the cause of death and then they put those points together showing that London was seen at their home, because let's remember the mom said that London was never there, but police are saying they have evidence that shows otherwise. So once it comes out that she's a victim of a homicide, I think that charges will be brought against both of them. Now, if you're looking at this case, it looks like he had help. It looks like his family was helping him. His mom was helping him. So I do believe that there is a fear that he might flee. So even if he is let out on a bond, he will have to have a GPS. I think he's only able to go to doctor's appointments. Like, he's not able to travel as well as his mom is not able to travel. They are trying to make sure that until they get those murder charges, that these two people do not try to get away. Now, that is all the information that I have right now in this case. Comment below and let me know your thoughts so far.
So Jalen Pendergrass, the ex-boyfriend of London Thomas, has been brought up on a charge unrelated to her case, and it's kind of giving we're fishing at this point. Energy, it really is. So they have charged him with 1 count of false reporting for a incident that happened over a year ago, and they are just now charging him now in the midst of the investigation of the disappearance and the unaliving of London Thomas. They go ahead and rearrest his mom on Friday and charged her with lying to a peace officer in the middle of a serious criminal investigation. And then yesterday they went ahead and charged him with this false reporting of a crime from an incident that happened over a year ago. Now, this charge is a felony with a penalty of up to 4 years in prison and a $2,000 fine. But his attorney, Terry L. Johnson, did seek the bond request and that he wear an ankle monitor so that he can get out. He is still currently at Oakland County Jail and the primary suspect in the disappearance and unaliving of London Thomas at this time. His attorney did go on record and state that he does believe the police are trying to make arrests in a case that they are not ready to bring to court because they do not now currently have enough evidence to actually charge him with the actual unaliving and disappearance of London.
All right, you guys, so we finally have another update in the case of London Thomas. So the alleged boyfriend has now been arrested, but Jalen has been arrested for a false report of a felony, and he is not in the same jail as his mother. He is in Oakland County. So let's remember, Charla was arrested in Wayne County for lying to a police officer during the investigation of a violent crime. So Jalen and his mom, they have the same exact attorney. And the attorney feels like this is unjust. He thinks that they have no real proof that they're the ones that did something to London, and that now they're just arresting them for anything in order to hold them. Now let me say this, everyone is innocent until proven guilty. We're not accusing anyone of anything. But I strongly believe that these two people hold the knowledge of what actually happened to London. But what I do think is the fact that London had been gone for so long, we're talking about weeks, her body might have been severely decomposed, and they're waiting on the autopsy to actually see her cause of death. Now, I think that once they find the cause of death and then they put those points together showing that London was seen at their home, because let's remember the mom said that London was never there, but police are saying they have evidence that shows otherwise. So once it comes out that she's a victim of a homicide, I think that charges will be brought against both of them. Now, if you're looking at this case, it looks like he had help. It looks like his family was helping him. His mom was helping him. So I do believe that there is a fear that he might flee. So even if he is let out on a bond, he will have to have a GPS. I think he's only able to go to doctor's appointments. Like, he's not able to travel as well as his mom is not able to travel. They are trying to make sure that until they get those murder charges, that these two people do not try to get away. Now, that is all the information that I have right now in this case. Comment below and let me know your thoughts so far.
Y'all heard about that girl, London Thomas, who went missing, a 17-year-old girl out of Detroit. The last person she was seen with was her boyfriend. Her boyfriend was 24 years old. He snatched down his social medias and everything when she went missing. Mr. Jalen Pendergrass. Now fast forward, they done found her body. All that time they was looking for her, her body was found in an SUV in some driveway. I don't know how they found it, but they found this body in the driveway. Now, if y'all know it, if y'all didn't see it, but this girl, this little white girl said that she know the same man Pendergrass and he R-worded her. You know what I'm saying? So she was saying like, hey, y'all need to look in the dude, da-da-da. I don't know if anybody paid attention to her, but I did. I was looking over her little shit.
There's a missing girl out there that is with my SA person. 10 minutes from each other. That's where her phone was pinned. That's where I was SA, like around that area. Okay?
Now, boom, they found her body. He been arrested, and guess what? His mama was arrested because they said that she was dropped off over there. Now, the truth has come to light. Everybody be worried about the wrong thing in these posts. They was worried about is 3 different men that was saying that that's her daddy. We don't care who know which one of them was her daddy, but she had 3 men that was claiming to be her daddy. My condolences go out to the family and all her fathers, whether they was hers or not, that they loved her. So that's all that mattered. Go out to them. And I hope and seek justice for that weird ass man and his mama. They better put them under the jail because the mama knew what was going on and she allowed it and then tried to cover it up. I'm gonna keep y'all updated because that is just this crazy.
Police discovered the body of London Thomas inside an SUV parked in the driveway to this home. 2 people have been taken into custody. So far, no charges have been filed. Therefore, no names have been released.